Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Tuesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. With Dylan Denmark, the Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. A Tuesday night where the NBA playoffs, again, front and center. Boy, 3 consecutive road teams have won in the NBA playoffs. Cleveland and Indiana, game 2 right now. Probably a must-win for Cleveland. They do lead 50-37 late in the second quarter. We'll keep you updated as they look to tie that series at a game apiece. The National Hockey League playoffs going on right now. We'll keep you updated on that. Jaguar rookie minicamp will be open to the public on Saturday. You'll get more information about that on the Jaguar social media channels tomorrow. So we got a lot to get into. And with Jaguar rookie minicamp coming up, I thought we would get some more insight into some of the draft picks that the Jaguars had, the guys that'll be on the field for that rookie minicamp coming up this weekend. And one of those guys, Jonah Monheim from USC, well, his head coach for USC is Lincoln Riley. And Lincoln Riley is going to join us here on Hacker After Dark inside of about 10 or so minutes from now as we'll talk to Lincoln Riley, the USC head football coach, about Jonah Monheim, the kind of guy he is, what he brings to Jacksonville, and about the USC program as a whole. They have the number 1 recruiting class right now, I believe, in America for 2026. So Lincoln Riley joins me coming up here in about 10 or so minutes. Also Ryan Fowler of the Draft Network. We got Joe DeLeon, A2ZSports.com. We got a lot of stuff tonight. You know, I'm going on vacation literally at like 6 a.m. in the morning is when we're leaving, and I'm gone all the way through Sunday. So obviously, this is the last Hacker After Dark of the week. I've also been sitting in with Frangie on the Frangie Show. So after a couple of Frangie shows, a Hacker After Dark yesterday, here I am right now, knowing I'm going on vacation in about 10 hours. Some people would just mail it in, right? Some people would say, let's just mail it in. Let's do whatever, this show or that show. Oh, no, sir. Not me, man. Not Denmark. Are you kidding me? We're here for you. We got Lincoln Riley coming up. We got Ryan Fowler coming up. We got a bunch of guests coming up for you tonight here on a Tuesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. And we have big news in the world of the University of Florida. And that is where we will begin. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
That's a very big deal if you're a Gator basketball fan. A brand new 6-year contract extension for Todd Golden, the man who in 3 short years returned Florida back to the highest point of the college basketball world. In 3 short years, returned Florida to an SEC tournament championship, returned Florida to the Sweet 16, returned Florida to the Final Four, and yes, returned Florida to the National Championship Summit. Todd Golden is now the 4th highest paid coach in college basketball. Absolutely well deserved. You know, you think about the long history of Gator athletics on the football gridiron and on the basketball hardwood. Todd Golden joins a list with Steve Spurrier, Urban Meyer, and Billy Donovan. Those are the 4 guys that have brought you a football national championship or a men's college basketball national championship. That's pretty good company to be in. There were a lot of questions when Billy Donovan left. A lot of questions, more questions maybe when Mike White couldn't get the job done. Would Florida ever return to anywhere near where Billy had them? Well, in 3 years, Florida goes from not making the NCAA tournament to winning the national championship. And why did that happen? Well, because they hired the right guy. They hired a guy that is one of the best coaches in America and is now being rewarded as being one of the best coaches in America. Todd Golden, a brand new 6-year contract today. Congratulations to him. Congratulations to Scott Strickland and everybody down there with the University of Florida. Job well done. Winning the title, and now the coach that brought you that title is now locked into Gator basketball for a long, long time. Will he be there for the end of the contract? Well, I don't think it's going to be because he gets fired. I think the only reason he would not be there for the end of the contract is if he were to leave, potentially to go to the NBA at some point. That is a conversation for down the road. The conversation for tonight is that Todd Golden is locked in for another 6 years in that extension. And I give compliments to all parties involved for getting it done. Terrific job by everybody. Todd Golden, Scott Strickland, and everybody down there associated with the Gator men's basketball program at the University of Florida. Denmark of the award-winning Denmark and Marsh podcast. Your reaction to Todd Golden's contract extension earlier today?
Yeah, it was kind of expected. I mean, you go on the run you did, and it's kind of like football. You see a lot of guys get extensions, and, usually just means for football, it's usually just recruiting. We're going to be here for a couple more years. I wonder what it means for basketball, because I know you and Frank were talking about it. 20, I won't even go that far, 15 years ago, if you are really good in college basketball, it meant, okay, how much longer are you going to be good at the sport before you take the next step and go to the NBA? And it doesn't really feel like that, at least right now with Todd Golden. It feels like he's going to stay at Florida for another couple years. It felt like, Hurley was that guy last year with UConn. So, I mean, I'm content. Well-earned, and he's going to be at Florida for the next couple of years.
Yeah, look, college basketball coaches used to leave to go to the NBA pretty regularly. It has not happened very often, at least in recent times. NBA teams seem to hire the good, hot, up-and-coming assistant, the former recycled coach, or the former player that's never been a head coach. When's the last time a college basketball coach went up to the league? I mean, Brad Stevens did it and is still team president with the Celtics, but that was what, 7, 8 years ago. We talked about John Beilein. That was a disaster, right? He left Michigan to go to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't think he made it an entire season in Cleveland. It's just an absolute flipping disaster. And since Beilein, I think that might be the last one that left the college game to go to the NBA. For whatever reason, it has not happened as of late. I'm sure it will ultimately happen again, and I think Todd Golden maybe will pursue it. Although when I told Frangie, look, we knew Billy was going to try it at some point because look who his mentor was. His mentor was Rick Pitino, who tried the NBA. When it comes to Todd Golden, he talks about a couple of guys, but two of the main guys he always talks about are Randy Bennett and Bruce Pearl, two college basketball lifers. I don't know if that means anything. Could mean something, could mean nothing. I find it interesting, so we'll see. But again, doesn't matter for the next year or 2 or 3 plus because Todd Golden's going to be in Gainesville with a brand new contract extension. So more on that as developments warrant. Again, Cleveland and Indiana in the NBA playoffs. Cavaliers desperately looking to win game 2 to even this series at a game apiece. They're up 59-49. Pretty impressive. Cleveland's up 10 right now. They're without 3 key players tonight. DeAndre Hunter, Darius Garland, and Evan Mobley are all not playing, and Cleveland is still up 10. That's pretty good. We'll see if that can last. Later on tonight, game 1 between Golden State and Minnesota. And what is an intriguing series if you're an NBA fan? I mean, obviously Steph Curry in that story, But Jimmy Butler returning to Minnesota, I'll tell you this, my best friend's he's like the only Minnesota Timberwolf fan in Jacksonville. Those people up there, they hate Jimmy Butler. I mean, passionately hate Jimmy Butler for how it ended up there. So there's going to be some theater when Jimmy Butler is introduced tonight up at the Target Center in Minneapolis. So I'm looking forward to Golden State and Minnesota. Of course, last night the Knicks beat the Celtics and the Nuggets beat the Thunder. Road teams are 3-0 so far in the conference semis. Again, we'll keep you updated. But most of the show tonight, as you can imagine, will be all Jaguars. Jaguar rookie minicamp takes place on Saturday. We've talked about a lot of rookies. We've had the Navy head coach on. We've had the Tulane head coach on. We've had the Virginia Tech head coach on, Brent Pry, which you might hear a replay of that later on. We've had the Syracuse offensive coordinator, Jeff Nixon. We've had a couple of high school coaches on, both Travis Hunter and Wyatt Milam. We haven't spent time on Jonah Monheim yet, the 7th-round pick out of USC. So let's talk to Lincoln Riley, shall we? Lincoln Riley, one of the most accomplished college coaches in America. Lincoln Riley, the head coach of Southern California, joins me next on a Tuesday night here in Jacksonville, Florida. And we're glad you're with us right here on Hacker After Dark.
Dan and Jeff.
See, that's the difference between us. You think we're fighting, and I think we're finally talking.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
I am not an entertainer. Fight!
The Drill.
Fight!
Mornings on 1010XL.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Open early and open late. Dailies is always there, making things easy for you to cruise in and cruise out. So hit Dailies Cold Case the next time you're craving a cold one. Bud Light by the case, plus plenty of singles to choose from. Corona to the King of Beers to Stella or a Natty. They're all cold at Dailies.
What? All the budget has to be used now? And we can use all the media buy?
Javier's marketing firm just got its dream funding.
Okay, ideas. Bobbleheads. No. T-shirt cannon. I seriously need some help here.
He needs to find marketing managers who are worth every dollar.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Sponsoring a job on Indeed gives it a visibility boost so you can hire faster. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court. The Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Or MattDadJacksonville.com.
The Combine. Free agency. The Draft.
We're professionals. We have a job to do, a season to plan.
Follow the road to the regular season with AA Automotive on Richard Street. Family run since 1954. And 1010XL.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less.
Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
Frank Frangie here. I was talking to a buddy the other day. His HOA told him his old fence had to go. I said, man, call Coil Fencing. They've been around the block since 1927. Heck, they probably built half the fences in Jacksonville. They do it all. Tough chain link for security. Those fancy aluminum ones the HOA actually likes. Nearly a century of keeping yards safe and looking good. If you need a fence, call Coil. You can trust the folks at Coil. 904-356-4821 or visit CoilJacks.com. COYLE Jacks.com.
Need the right tools for the job without the full-time price tag? Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach is what you need when you need it. From heavy machinery for commercial projects to weekend projects at the house, we've got you covered. We've been serving Jacks for 50 years. Visit Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach, just behind Aqua East Surf Shop, or call today. We also have event rentals too. Tucker Equipment Rentals. Tools you need without the price tag of purchasing.
Coatings, your floor's missing piece. Premium flooring, take our advice. Home of business, affordable price. Driveways, pool decks, garage doors, beautiful patios, and more to explore. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Mother's Day is coming. Don't run out of time. Small Cakes has sweets she'll love from you and the kids. Mention 1010XL to get 10% off now until Wednesday. Cupcakes to brownies to ice cream. Customize it so it's unique to mom. SmallCakesJacks.com.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM, your home for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we are glad you are with us. Rookie minicamp for the Jaguars this upcoming weekend. That will include 7th-round pick Jonah Monheim of the Southern California Trojans, who the Jaguars picked last week in the NFL Draft. Let's get some insights on Jonah from a man that knows him very well, that is the head coach of USC, Coach Lincoln Riley. Coach, how we doing?
We're doing great. Thanks for having me on this morning.
Hey, Coach, thank you so much for joining us. All right, 7th-round pick, Jonah Monheim. We know about the versatility. We know about center, right guard, right tackle. We'll break all that down with you. But first and foremost, Coach, what kind of player did the Jaguars draft with Jonah Monheim?
Well, Jacksonville just got a heck of a player, and frankly, I think he was just massively underdrafted, in my opinion. This guy's probably the smartest offensive lineman that I've ever worked with at any of the stops. His mind for the game, his ability to process and understand schemes and defenses and adjustments, and it's incredibly impressive. And then to have the ability to play, like you said, start, at all three levels of an offensive line, at tackle, at right guard, at center. He started at left tackle as well. I mean, you just rarely find guys that both mentally and physically can do that at a place, especially like a place like USC. And so, he just brings so much to the table there. And then I think the last thing is, Jacksonville's getting an incredible leader. This is the kind of guy you want in your locker room. This is the kind of guy that wins, that has that He just kind of has that DNA and that way about him and that work ethic and that humility that is going to lead to success. So, yeah, everybody in Jacksonville is going to be very, very happy that Jonah Monheim is a Jaguar.
You know, in your line of work, again, Coach Lincoln Riley here with us, you certainly know how tough it is to play tackle, guard, center. But for the average fan, Coach, just talk about that aspect of the versatility. I mean, that is not an easy thing to do.
No, it's not, because you look at a tackle skill set, and you got to be able to move out there on the edge against some of the best athletes, and you've got to be able to hold your own out there, and the ability to do it on both the right and left side to me was really impressive. I mean, I tell people, like, if you were to play golf and then you're a right-handed golfer and all of a sudden you want to go out there and try to play left-handed, I mean, that's essentially what it feels like. I mean, it's everything is in reverse, and for him to have the ability to do both, especially against some of the competition that we face and that the guys that we compete against, and to be one of the best linemen, in our league here for multiple years in a row was super impressive. And then obviously moves inside where the game gets even more physical. You're playing against bigger, stronger, heavier players. And he was not only able to hold his own, but go in there and be really successful. Then transition into center, where now, in addition to all those things we just talked about, you have to make all the line calls. You have to snap the ball accurately. It's just rare to find somebody that could do. It's rare to find somebody who could do two of them. So somebody like this, brings so much value to an organization where obviously, in the NFL, the rosters are smaller and every spot is even more important.
Coach, he played center for you at Southern Cal last year. Do you think that's the best place for him in the National Football League, in your opinion?
I do. I mean, if you had to pick one, I do. And that was part of our reasoning for moving him in there was, we wanted it fit our team. And then we also felt like it was going to help his career as he got ready to progress to the NFL. And so I do think it will be. And I think because he's only played 1 year of center, I think he's just going to continue to get better and better and better at it. But it takes advantage of how smart he is. It takes advantage of his movement skills, and as he's learned to play, with a better base and play out of his hips more, you'll see the physicality just continue to grow like it did for us. So, but the great thing is if you get in a pinch or you need him at other places, like he'll be able to slide in and do that effortlessly.
Couple of more for the head coach of USC, Lincoln Riley, with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. James Gladstone, coach, the GM here in Jacksonville, talks about intangibly rich. He wants to bring guys with intangibly rich aspects of their game to the Jaguars. Speak outside of Jonah as far as we know the guard, center, tackle versatility. What kind of intangibles will Jonah bring to the Jaguar organization?
I mean, it's not even a home run. It's a grand slam in that regard. I mean, this guy's intangibles are off the charts. He'll be one of the hardest workers in the building. He'll learn that system so fast. He'll bring a great attitude each and every day. He's going to play through injuries. He's going to be a great teammate. He's going to push people in that locker room to be better and help get the best out of them. So this guy's intangibles are off the charts. I mean, he's truly one of those guys that when you coach him, you'll say, well, I wish we had 10 more just like him. I mean, he's that kind of guy. So just a foundational. So certainly was a foundational piece for us, and I think Jacksonville is going to find him, see him very much in that same regard as time goes on.
And what a cool aspect for Jonah. I'm sure you've talked to him since he was drafted. The fact that Tony Baselli gave him the call to ask him to be a Jaguar, one of the best USC linemen of all time, that had to be a thrill for Jonah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, just to cap off getting drafted, which is all of these guys' dream. For a great Trojan like Tony to be able to make that call, one of the best offensive linemen in history, Hall of Famer now. I mean, just that was like icing on the cake, and shows you how strong, obviously, the USC brotherhood is, and the history of this program and its success level, both at the college level, but also obviously all the success of guys that have gone on the NFL and become some of the greats. So I know that was took a special moment for Jonah and made it even better.
Final moments with Lincoln Riley. Coach, for you, from your days at Oklahoma to now Southern Cal, I mean, you've certainly sent a lot of guys to the NFL, but it's got to still be such a thrill for you when you see these guys accomplish their dreams.
Oh, it is. It's one of the best days of the year. Being around those guys and seeing them get that phone call is really special, and especially when you have guys like Jonah that have invested in it the way they have and been so selfless and such, tough, really productive players. It's awesome to get that opportunity. So that is one feeling that no matter how many times you do it or no matter how many guys we send to the NFL, that's one feeling that'll never get old.
Coach, leave us with this. How did the spring go for you guys? How are things looking for USC football here in 2025?
We're excited. There's just a ton of momentum around this program. We've had a really good spring. Have really continued to make some really positive roster changes and feel like this roster is really getting in a tremendous place. We've got the number one recruiting class in the country in this upcoming class, the 2026 class, which is obviously very exciting. And we're getting ready to move into a new football facility here within the next year that'll be one of the best in college football. So a lot of momentum around this program, and it's been a fun build up to this point, but it's time to win now. And we're excited about kind of the point we're at and where this thing's headed.
Lincoln Riley, the head coach of USC, kind enough to join us here to shed a little insight on newest Jaguar, Jonah Monheim. Coach, I know how incredibly busy you are. Thank you for taking time out. We'll talk again soon, pal.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
There you go, Lincoln Riley with us here on Hacker After Dark, and I just cannot thank him enough. I mean, what I've found in this process, and I do this every year, for those of you that have listened to me every year, I get as many of these coaches on as I can from the high school ranks or from the college ranks, guys that knew these Jaguar draft picks. And almost across the board, you will find somebody just willing to come on and talk about their guy. And because they want to. They enjoy this process with them. They're so happy for them. And you could tell in talking to Lincoln Riley right there, he just wanted to come on and talk about Jonah Monheim. Like when we had Brent Pry on, the head coach of Virginia Tech, and we might replay some of that later on here on Hacker After Dark, to come on and talk about Bashel Tootin, right? John Summerall, the head coach of Tulane, when he wanted to come on and talk about Caleb Ransaw. Who am I missing? Brian Newberry, my goodness, the head coach of Navy, to come on and talk about Rayon Lane. We had Brad Dingus, the Wyatt Milam's high school coach. And then Drew Swick, Travis Hunter's high school coach. And talking to these coaches over the last week and a half, I hope you've enjoyed listening to them as much as I've enjoyed bringing them to you to just kind of get some information and some insight on these guys the Jaguars are drafting. And again, a big thank you to Katie and everybody out there at USC football for bringing us Lincoln Riley here tonight on Hacker After Dark. If you missed any of that, I'm sure that'll be up on the 1010XL on-demand page as well later on. But we'll continue with the Jaguar conversation. That was a thought on Jonah Monheim, who, by the way, I think is firmly involved for a roster spot, firmly involved. I think there might be a battle there. It might be Monheim versus Fortner for that backup center spot behind Hainsey, right? I think that might be the way it's shaping up. So more on the Jaguars, not just Jonah Monheim, but the rest of the Jaguar class. Again, rookie minicamp on Saturday. Let's talk about it with Ryan Fowler of the Draft Network. Ryan's been one of my guys for a long time. We had him a bunch in the pre-draft process. Now let's get a review. How did he feel about the Travis Hunter pick? How did he feel about the Jaguar selections? Ryan's talked to a lot of these guys individually. He did like hundreds of one-on-one interviews with a lot of these guys at the Senior Bowl, at the Combine. He's got a unique perspective. We'll talk to Ryan Fowler of the Draft Network about all of it coming up next on a Tuesday night here on Hacker After Dark. We're glad you're with us on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
From Duval to the world.
All communication lines are clear.
Download the 1010XL apps for free on Apple and Android devices and listen wherever life takes you.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes here with a challenge. A challenge might not be the best choice in words, so let's say an opportunity. Take the opportunity to lose 40 by the 4th with Awaken 180. It sounds a little different when you put a real goal to it, doesn't it? Maybe you looked at the scale this morning and it read 230 pounds. How about a reading 190 by the 4th? Maybe the scale says 300. Wouldn't the number 260 be a little nicer on your eyes and on your joints? It's attainable if you have the same results we all had with Awaken 180. I dropped 40 pounds in 9 weeks. Hacker dropped his first 40 in just 6 weeks. Dempsey, Blue, and everyone else I know, same results. And we've kept it off. The best thing about Awaken 180 weight loss, it will completely change the way you think, see, and feel about food. The results are real, attainable, and the process simple with Awaken 180. Take the opportunity and drop 40 by the 4th. It all starts with just one call to Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
The best value for golf in Jacksonville remains Cimarron. Totally reestablished with new tee boxes, improved fairways and greens. Also a brand new restaurant with indoor and outdoor settings and live music. Join the Wild One loyalty program online at Cimarron Golf. When's the last time you played Cimarron? Cimarron Golf Club on 210, the Wild One.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Jason, I don't see how a new air conditioner is going to work out for me.
Well, you like air conditioning, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. But a new air conditioner could be expensive.
Well, not if you...
I mean, to save up the money, I probably have to give up my extra hot skim latte every morning. Now I fall asleep during a staff meeting, get volunteered for the summer picnic committee, and end up sitting in the dunk tank all afternoon getting water up my nose.
Okay, look at it this way. Put on these sunglasses.
Whoa.
Bueller Air and Plumbing puts in a new AC. We hook you up with affordable financing, and you stay cool and comfortable for just $149 a month. Cool?
Cool. I see it now.
Life can be hard on your budget. If you suffer through the heat because of a broken AC you could totally afford to replace, you could visit.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Want a simple way to boost your company's image without a big renovation? A fresh paint job in your brand's colors can increase recognition up to 80%. At Performance Painting, we help companies stand out with clean, on-brand finishes that impress clients and energize employees. From color consultations to low-odor coatings that won't disrupt operations, we've got you covered. Visit performance-painting.com to schedule a friendly estimate. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
We know Mom is special.
The best defense is a good offense.
Let 1010XL help you with gift ideas for Mom. From Beaches Dermatology, Sawgrass Marriott Spa, and Kuhn Flowers. Go to 1010XL.com.
Guys, your lawn's the home field. Now you can champion your St. Augustine grass. TopDressing.com just hit Jacksonville with a game-changing patented process. Aerate and transform your turf into a fairway-worthy masterpiece. Less water, shorter cuts, and the envy of every neighbor. No one else delivers a perfect 10 lawn like this. Visit TopDressing.com and dominate your block with the same process that golf courses use. Top dress your lawn like the pros with TopDressing.com.
Are you ready to reclaim your backyard? Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, Surfside Pools is the trusted name for expert pool design. Family owned and operated, they offer pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools transform your backyard into the oasis that you crave. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, where luxury meets leisure.
License number CPC 044080.
ET here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, visit my buddy Dr. McGowan at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. You have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits, even if you're at fault. And no matter what you hear, you have the right to choose your own doctor. So I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Their auto experts will guide you in every step of the way to ensure the care that you need. Your recovery starts with McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation.
What are the only 2 states that do not observe daylight saving time? The answer next.
Having the right homeowner's policy protection means you're staying on top of your most valuable possession, your home. For information on finding an agent, go to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The only 2 states that currently do not observe daylight saving time are Arizona and Hawaii.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
The housing market is as busy as ever on the First Coast. And if you've moved in or moved on, make sure you have a team of trained electricians ready to help. American Electrical can make sure you're up to date electrically and maximize your living experience. Smart home automation services, home theater systems, outdoor and dock lighting, and backup generators. American Electrical can do it all. A team you can trust with highly trained technicians ensuring you have the best living experience. American-Electrical.com, a leader on the First Coast and powered by professionalism.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court. The Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Or MattDadJacksonville.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Jaguar rookie minicamp coming up this weekend. Travis Hunter and the other drafted rookies will be in, along with about 20 or so undrafted free agents. And then, of course, Jaguar OTAs begin on Monday, May the 19th. Let's talk about the Jaguar draft class with one of our favorites. Ryan Fowler has joined me for years. He's with the Draft Network, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Ryan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, Ryan. Always appreciate you having me on, man.
Ryan, you and I spent a lot of time talking draft before the draft got here, and then obviously now you look back on it. I don't think I asked you a single question about Travis Hunter because at number 5, that wasn't a possibility. And then James Gladstone and Liam Cohen did what they did to trade up and get Travis Hunter. Ryan, what's your thought about the Heisman Trophy winner coming to Jacksonville?
I love it. I really do. I really like the player that Travis Hunter is. He was the number 1 player for me clearly on my board. It was not Abdul Carter. I know some people had the Penn State edge rusher up there, but I really think Travis Hunter is a guy, Ryan, that has an all-pro ceiling on either side of the football. Now, we're going to see exactly where he lives right away. I think that could be an adjustment as the season progresses and as he fills out and matures and gets more experience at the NFL level. But bottom line, I think he is, we have a buzzword right in this industry, Ryan, where you don't want to use the word generational, but we've never really seen a guy like Travis Hunter. So I think that requires me to use the word generational. And I think that's what he can be right away. He's one of the players in the class that has one of the highest performance floors. You know exactly what you're going to get, whether it's at corner or whether it's at receiver. And I really like the additions that Gladstone has made, not only in the rest of the draft, but also in free agency to come in and just add some talent, bottom line, specifically on the offensive side of the football, which I know we're going to get into a little bit. But I really like the addition. I have no problem with what they gave up to move up to get him. That was obviously their guy. They wanted to be aggressive. They wanted to make a statement. I like it a lot. It's trusting your board. It's trusting your football staff to do their football jobs. And it's going to get a guy that I think is going to be a hell of a football player for a long, long time in Jacksonville. And I do expect him at some point in time to have some heavy amount of snaps on either side of the ball in certain moments.
I think the indication, first and foremost, is on offense and maybe sprinkle him in on defense as well. So let's focus on the wide receiver, Travis Hunter. Ryan, how does his game coincide with a guy like Brian Thomas Jr.?
I love it. It complements them extremely well. And I think one thing is nice is that, hey, you're going to force the secondary to really pick their poison a little bit on the outside. Brian, as he proved in year 1, he could be a 3-level threat, with that size. He can be a guy within the 20s and inside the 20s, and in between the 20s. And then now you have Travis Hunter to where you get the ball in his hands as a guy you just want to work on designated touches. He can do that for you as well as one of the most electric athletes in this class with the ball in his hands. Or for me, he was the top contested catch athlete in this class, more so than the Keturah McMillans of the world and the Jaden Higgins of the world from Iowa State that ended up with the Houston Texans. His ability to get up off the ground and really turn 50-50 balls into 90-10 balls, he's an explosive type of athlete that, for me, looking at these receivers of the last few years with the Marvin Harrisons, the Jamar Chases, the Justin Jeffersons, for me, he's right up with those guys, the ability to go and attack the football. So I think he's going to complement the rest of the guys in the offense, even looking at it, a new addition in De'Ami Brown or what Gabe Davis is going to be or what a Parker Washington's going to be asked to be, but really a wide receiver 1A and a wide receiver 1B now for he and Brian Thomas Jr., and they're going to cause a lot of headaches for really the rest of the AFC South, the entire AFC, and really the rest of the NFL here, hopefully for the Jaguars' perspective for the next decade or so.
Ryan Fowler of the Draft Network. All right, Travis Hunter was the big story. Now, branching out from there, a couple of third-round picks. Let's begin with Caleb Ransaw. This is a guy that kind of shined at the Senior Bowl. I've heard the term late bloomer with Caleb Ransaw, Ryan, from a lot of guys around the industry. What was your thought on the defensive back out of Tulane?
Yeah, I think this addition for what, Anthony Campanelli is going to do on defense, where he's going to be very multiple. This is a spot to where you look at it and say, probably wanted to see a little bit more from Caleb on tape. I do have some concerns with him in man coverage and being a tight end eliminator over the middle of the field. But if he plays at some depth for you and plays maybe that hybrid type of safety to where you want to play downhill a little bit, he's an extremely explosive player at 5'11", 200 pounds, whether the tape was at Troy or at Tulane. The guy can tackle. The guy can run from number to number. And obviously bringing in some new additions in the last few years, right? You look at a guy like Eric Murray, Darnell Savage is back at the free spot. You're going to have some versatility on the back end. And really, Caleb is this modern-day hybrid defender that can play low, he can play high, he can play in man coverage. It's just, for me, there are a little bit concerns with him. Ask him to, live in man, be a big slot right now, but I want to play him at some more depth, keep everything in front of him, allow him to trust his eyes, trust his instincts. Don't force a player like this into a box. Allow him to be an athlete, allow him to do what he does best, and I think the Jaguars, and again, Anthony Campanelli, of course, the new DC, is going to allow him to do that. So I really like the addition here in the third round.
Caleb Ransaw went number 88 overall. The Jaguars traded up to number 89 to take Wyatt Milam, the Big 12 Offensive Lineman of the Year out of West Virginia. I think the thought with Wyatt, Ryan, is he's going to move inside to guard, and I've had people tell me might be a steal, right? A lot of people maybe didn't expect him to be around at number 89. What was your thought on him?
I agree. Big physical dude that gets after it, and that lineman versatility is going to be excellent. Looking at Wyatt and even getting to know him a little bit in this process, the guy just gets after people. He's got just the powerful hands that cores off of a powerful lower half. He's going to win, Ryan, on that linear plane. So A to B, he understands angles getting to the second level. I like the versatility up front that I mentioned. I don't know his exact path to snaps right now, but bottom line also, which I really like from James Gladstone in this draft, Ryan, is adding competition on either side of the ball and adding competition for a roster that has to meet and exceed expectations this year. I like it. I really do. So adding Wyatt Milam, again, you mentioned it, Big 12 Offensive Lineman of the Year. The versatility's there. The power is there. The anchor is there. Was the Senior Bowl perfect? I thought he was a little bit quiet during the week, but I think the skill set, the floor for him to be able to come in and compete on the inside with bumpers to either shoulder to mask a little bit of inefficiencies as an athlete, I think will do well for Wyatt.
A couple more for Ryan Fowler of the Draft Network. Now, we know what Liam Cohen did with Bucky Irving last year in Tampa, Ryan, and they go 2 running backs in the draft here in Jacksonville. LaQuint Allen out of Syracuse, I had to look this number up again, 64 catches out of the backfield last year. That is an insane number. And then Tootin from Virginia Tech, a 4.32 at the combine. I believe he was the fastest running back in the class. And I guess the question here, LaQuint Allen or Bashel Tootin, could any one of these guys be the next Bucky Irving?
I think if I had to guess one of them, I would say Bashel just because of his explosiveness. I think it's going to be very hard to keep off the field. You mentioned the 4.32 speed. It also shows up on tape. It actually showed up on tape back to his days before he transferred to Virginia Tech back at NCA&T, where he was one of the premier HBCU products in the class, and likely, according to a couple conversations with some scouts, would have heard his name called even if he stayed at NCA&T. And there was only one HBCU product that heard his name called this year, which was Carson Vincent, the tackle from Alabama A&M. But I think Bashal Tutin is going to be a guy that's going to challenge Bigsby, and Travis Etienne, because I think his ability inside, outside the tackles, he's got a thick upper frame. His ability to run through tackles, his ability to go around you and through you is a really unique combination. This was a guy that entered the year, Ryan, as a guy with kind of 6th, 7th round grades and really showcased himself well in a Hokies offense that was expected to be much better than they were actually here in 2024. But this is someone that's not going to come in and just say, I'm a 4th rounder. Maybe I'll get some preseason touches and work with the threes in camp. He's going to challenge for some carries. And I mentioned that explosiveness with the low 4.3. He can really run. And that type of athlete is going to be hard to keep off the field. And Ryan, you mentioned it with LaQuinn Allen. You know, it's really him and Brashard Smith from SMU that went to the Chiefs in the 7th round. Their hands are outstanding. And watching LaQuinn at the Senior Bowl, where he was a late addition, his ability on 3rd down, he's not going to stick his face in pass pro consistently for you, but that's a mismatch nightmare for teams when he comes on the field, because he can run routes and truly be that flex type of weapon. He has outstanding hands at the running back position. In a day and age where you want to force all 11 guys on defense to potentially cover beyond that, the big boys up front, you got to have a guy like LaQuinn Allen that can really expand your playbook. And now, like we talked about earlier, take eyes off of your Travis Hunters, off of your Brian Thomas Jr.'s, off of your Brenton Stranges of the world, and allow these guys to make some plays for you. So I really like the additions here with 2 young running backs, taking flyers on some guys like a guy like LaQuinn here in the 7th round. And bottom line, Ryan, continuing to add competition.
Final moments with Ryan Fowler of the Draft Network. Ryan, of the other 4 guys, whether it was Jonah Monheim from USC, Jalen McLeod, Auburn, Rayon Lane from Navy, or Jack Kaiser, Notre Dame, did any of those other 4 picks stand out to you?
Yeah, I think Jonah was the guy that even a couple of years ago had a lot of buzz as far as a potential top 100 guy within the interior. And I will say this, don't watch the Michigan tape against Mason Graham. Did not go well for him, but I think Jonah is going to be a rotational piece up front for somebody in his NFL career. I don't know just yet. Of course, that's in Jacksonville. Jalen McLeod, I think he's going to get some work along the defensive front. He's one of those heavier throwback type of backers that will really thump you in the middle. But the SEC experience will really pop off his tape, and he's not afraid to hit you. And then I can't say enough good things about Jack Kaiser. I think this is a guy that's in that J.D. Bertrand, his former teammate at Notre Dame, that type of role. The Jack Sanborn type of mold came out of Wisconsin a few years ago, went to Chicago, now in Dallas. Jack Kaiser's an addition to where in training camp, I think he's going to open some eyes. This is a young man that understands what he's looking at in the middle of a defense. He is not the highest level athlete in the world that understands the middle of a very high-level football player. Those are guys that hang around the NFL for a long, long time. So Jack Kaiser in the 4th round, love the addition. He can play his butt off. He tackles his butt off. Now, the coverage stuff, that's something to work on. The athleticism, there are some inefficiencies there. But overall, I think Jack Kaiser, when he straps up, that is the guy you want to go to war with every single Sunday. And I think he's going to carve himself out a nice role in Jacksonville for a long time.
Ryan, one of the more underrated things that James Gladstone did to me was that trade with Detroit to pick up those 2 third-rounders in 2026. I mean, the Jaguars don't have a first-round pick next year because of the Hunter trade, but they have 4 day 2 picks now, 3 third-rounders and their second-rounder. I thought that was a pretty under-the-radar move that Gladstone made.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you look at what the capital that James Gladstone has moving into next year, because Ryan, bottom line, I think you'd agree that the expectations this year for the Jaguars are to compete right atop the AFC South. I think everybody expects that. Now, adding a guy like a Travis Hunter can make an impact on eventually either side of the ball for you. You're going to reach some expectations this year. But if you don't, and you potentially want to look at a lot of your core players potentially move on from those guys that are free agents coming up, right now you got upwards of 10, 11 picks for 2026. If you have to continue to add young players and build on this foundation, of course, as the new GM, if you're James Gladstone. So I agree with you. It's continuing to add capital for the future. It's continuing to add young players. The bottom line is, it's a revolving door constantly in the NFL, and you can't pay everybody. And it's going to be a couple of years from now when they're trying to pay Brian Thomas and potentially trying to pay Travis Hunter. That's going to be a dilemma that we've seen with like a T. Higgins and Jamar Chase in Cincinnati. So Bottom line, I really do like the picks that he continues to add. And again, just telling everybody in this roster, in this locker room, saying, look, you're not going to work out this year. We're going to continue to add players next year, and you're just not going to be here, bottom line.
Ryan, we got 60 seconds. Overall, what type of grade did you give the Jaguar draft class?
I give him a solid B. You know, I would say, I think Caleb Ransall, there were some safeties on the board personally that I probably would have rather prioritized, mainly a Xavier Watts as well from Notre Dame that went to the Atlanta Falcons. But I do like a lot of the additions. I mentioned Jack Kaiser. I really like LaQuinn Allen. Basil Tootin can fly. And I cannot say enough good things about Travis Hunter and making the move up. So I give it a solid B, but I will say this. Ryan, I can't sit here right now and say the class was an A all the way to an F because, look, 2-3 years from now, we'll see really what this class turns out to be. But I really do like the approach of which James Gladstone had in this draft, trusting their board, adding players that fit their scheme on either side of the ball, and making a move, bottom line, with the headliner of the class, a generational type of football player to say, look, some people are going to doubt us here, but we're going to make a move for this player that we think is going to be a face of the franchise type of guy, a superstar in the NFL, potentially a first-team All-Pro early on in his career, and to get that guy in the building and Travis Hunter, I cannot say enough good things about that move from James Gladstone. I really like it.
I know the work never stops at the Draft Network. I'm sure you've already moved on to 2026, correct?
Yes, I have. I'm taking a little bit of a breather, a little bit, Ryan, but slowly making my way to 26. Yes.
Ryan Fowler of the Draft Network. Ryan, I can't thank you enough. You've been so gracious with your time this entire process. We'll touch base again before the season. I always appreciate you, my friend.
Of course. Thanks as always, Ryan. We'll talk soon.
There you go, Ryan Fowler of the Draft Network. He's joined me for a long, long time, and I certainly appreciate Ryan taking time out for us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. One of those guys that he talked about there was Basil Tootin, the running back from Virginia Tech. Earlier on, I had the opportunity, we talked with Lincoln Riley of USC for Jonah Monheim. Riley coached Monheim at USC. Well, Brent Pry, the head coach of Virginia Tech, also joined me late last week to talk about Basil Tootin, who's going to be one of the stars at Jaguar rookie minicamp this week. A 4.32 40-yard dash at the combine for Basil Tootin. It's pretty fast. It's pretty good. Let's go up to Blacksburg. Let's talk to Brent Pry, the head coach of the Virginia Tech Hokies, about what the Jaguars got in the fourth round with running back Basil Tootin. Brent Pry joins us next on a Tuesday night here in Jacksonville. We're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Dr. Burton tells me you know who Batman is.
I can't tell you if you don't say please.
Please, who is Batman?
Batman.
Factotum. 10 to noon on 1010XL.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
St. Johns County parents, does your kid have energy to burn? Want them to play a sport for their middle school? Sign up today for the St. John's Middle School Athletic Association. Tackle football, dance, and cheerleading. Who doesn't want their kid to be the next NFL quarterback or dance floor diva? You know how fast your kid can go from playing Xbox to practicing their touchdown dance or sideline cheer? Visit sjmsaa.org. sjmsaa.org.
Leon Cersei here. Let's be real. I used to eat like a lineman because I was one. And man, those habits are hard to break. I needed help to stop with the munchies and lose weight. But now, I'm bringing sexy back. I call Physician Guided Weight Loss. Their medical team is helping me shed pounds safely with a custom plan to help me slim down. And their firm pricing means same price every month. Hey, you want to bring sexy back? Visit Physician Guided Weight Loss at pgweightloss.com.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Got a leaky faucet, AC blowing hot air, a funky smelling septic tank? No worries, Duck Duck Rooter has your back. We're your one-stop shop for plumbing, septic, and air conditioning, so you can stop juggling 3 companies and just make one easy call. Our expert techs are fast, friendly, and really know their ducks. I mean stuff. Call 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter, plumbing, septic, AC, and a whole lot of quacking good service.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. Before termites attack your home or business and cause costly damage, Terminix it. Terminix stops termites in my home fast. These destructive pests may have been around for millions of years, but before they show up, so does Terminix. And their time is up. Don't live with a termite problem. I certainly wasn't going to. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. Terminix.com.
Hey, Hicken here. So much of what makes us a family takes place in our homes. That's where Zero Res comes in. I love Zero Res, and this month get Zero Resified from Jacksonville's #1 carpet and air duct cleaner with May Mayhem. A 3-room special starting at $149 plus the 4th room is free. You owe it to yourself and your family to breathe healthy, happy, and clean. Call Zero Res 28757 or go online at ZeroResJacksonville.com and say you want the Hicken special. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler, and this Mother's Day, we'd like to help you celebrate Mom with up to 40% off our entire inventory. GIA-certified natural diamonds and lab-grown diamonds, beautiful colored gemstones, designer brands, custom jewelry design, and Monahan Jewelers offers interest-free financing on any purchase, so get something special with a payment you can afford. Come celebrate Mom with fine jewelry at up to 40% off at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jacksonville Jaguars capped off the NFL draft this past weekend. 9 draft picks in total, including a 4th-rounder from Virginia Tech in running back Bichelle Tootin. Let's talk to a man that knows all about Bichelle Tootin as a player and a person, and that is the head football coach of the Virginia Tech Hokies. Coach Brent Pry joins us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Coach, how we doing?
Doing well, man. Really excited for Bichelle and for your organization. Everybody's going to love some Tootin.
Well, let's talk about Bichelle Tootin a little bit. Coach, we see the stats, 2,000 yards the last 2 years, 25 touchdowns. We see the speed, a 4.32 40-yard dash. We'll get into all of that, but you know him better than all of us. What kind of player are the Jaguars getting with running back Bichelle Tootin?
Yeah, first of all, he's got tremendous humility. He's very likable. People in that building are going to really they're gonna like having Bichelle Tootin as a teammate. They're gonna like him playing for that franchise. He is he's incredibly humble, but at the same time, really a confident young man. Tremendous faith in his abilities and what he can accomplish. He's got all the traits to me. He's tough. He's got balance. He's got speed. He breaks tackles. This second year, he really improved with his pass pro, and catching the ball out of the backfield. We're going to miss him. A very valuable part of our football team the last 2 years.
A 4.32 40-yard dash speaks for itself. And the Jaguars coach talked about finding guys that can get into the end zone. Well, Bashal Tootin did that for your Virginia Tech Hokies the last couple of years. I believe 25 touchdowns in 23 and 24 combined. The guy knows how to find pay dirt, does he not?
Absolutely. And, I don't know how many. I don't have it in front of me. But you talk about explosive runs that earned touchdowns, where he took something that for a lot of guys is 12, 15 yards, and he outruns the secondary to the end zone, or he makes one guy miss and ends up, in the grandstand with the fans. He's electric that way. And we certainly had, with him in our offense, every time he touched the ball, there was the possibility that you had an explosive run coming and even a touchdown.
Brent Pry is the head coach of the Virginia Tech Hokies. He joins us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville talking about new Jaguar running back Bashal Tootin. Coach, James Gladstone and Liam Cohen, the new regime here in Jacksonville, have used the term intangibly rich because there have been some problems in the past with certain guys the Jaguars have brought in, and they're trying to find intangibly rich guys to bring into this organization. Talking to people around Bashal Tootin, I think he certainly fits that moniker, but you're certainly the person to ask. What kind of intangibles on and off the field are the Jaguars getting with him?
Well, first of all, what the Jags and what Coach Cohen are looking for is exactly how we're trying to build this program here in Blacksburg. The character traits and the intangibles are just as important as the level of talent, and Bashal has both. He was a great teammate here. He was very well thought of by players, coaches, and staff. The fan base, there was a great affection there for Tootin. Anybody that got to know him closely, he's quiet. As I mentioned, he's humble, but he's got a lot to him. And as you get to know Bashal, you really appreciate the person that he is. And I think they're going to be very pleased in all regards as he embarks on his career in Jacksonville.
Coach, I want to ask you about your program and how the spring has gone in one moment, but as we wrap up about Bashal Tootin, I mean, you look at what Liam Cohen did last year with the rookie and Bucky Irving, who was a mid-round selection. A lot of comparisons are being made. Can Liam Cohen do that again? And Tootin's going to have some help in the backfield, no question. Travis Etienne is here. Tank Bigsby is here. But do you think Tootin is capable of coming in as a rookie and contributing at the NFL level?
Absolutely. He's a student of the game. He's going to work very hard at it. And as I mentioned, I just think he's a very well-rounded back. He's got tremendous maturity. He's proved to be very durable. He's played through injuries. And he has on the surface, you won't see it, but underneath, there's an incredible desire and determination to be special.
You've been a coach in college football for a while now, but still, even to this day, when you see guys like Bashal get drafted from your program, Coach, that has to make you feel awesome, correct?
Oh, absolutely. And, it's everybody wants to knock on the transfer portal, and it certainly has its issues. But you talk about a young man that was not highly recruited out of high school. He ends up at North Carolina A&T, has a really good career there, has the opportunity to come to a place like Virginia Tech, and be an all-conference caliber player here and chase his dream of, being drafted and playing in the NFL. So, it's there's been a lot of good running backs come through here over the years, and he's certainly going to have his name etched in there with him.
Final moments with head coach Brent Pry of Virginia Tech football. Coach, let's focus on the Hokies. There's a good Jacksonville following. In fact, I have quite a few buddies that are part of the Virginia Tech fan club here in Jacksonville. They get together and watch the Hokie games on Saturday. How has the spring gone for you guys, and what's your outlook heading into 2025?
Yeah, I feel, we have a team right now that has a very strong voice. We have a deeper roster. Guys that have, that we've recruited into this program have come up with the foundation and the fundamentals that we believe in that are right for Virginia Tech and right for me. And we've recruited well at the high school level and through the transfer portal. So, we certainly have a lot of work to do. We've got a competitive schedule. We open up in Atlanta against a really good South Carolina team. So we'll have our hands full there, but I'm excited about the promise and, what we've done to this point.
Coach, final question. You mentioned the game in Atlanta against South Carolina. That's going to be one of the marquee games to open up the college football season. Not that you and your staff and your players need any added motivation, but knowing you're going to be one of the headliners opening weekend, that's got to be a good thought as you get into summer drills and obviously into fall camp.
Certainly people are excited about that around here. And to be honest, that's why these players come to a place like Virginia Tech, to play in marquee matchups, to play on national TV. So they're excited, but they also know that what we can control right now is the day in front of us. And we got a lot of getting better to do before we take on, a really good South Carolina team that's got a ton of momentum right now.
Bashal Tootin, fourth-round running back out of Virginia Tech. He is one of the newest Jaguar running backs. His head coach is Brent Pry. Coach, I know you're busy. Thank you so much for taking time out for us here in Jacksonville. We certainly appreciate it, pal.
Happy to do it. Good luck to you guys and to Bashal.
Share your life with 1010XL. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Oh, wait. I'm going to take a picture and post it on Facebook. What? Hashtag
1010XL.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Ever wonder where your food comes from? Get back to the good old days with fresh produce delivered to you from local family farms. Subscribe today at doorbellfarms.com. Connecting real people with real family farms.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Jason, I don't see how a new air conditioner is going to work out for me.
Well, you like air conditioning, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. But a new air conditioner could be expensive.
Well, not if you...
to save up the money, I probably have to give up my extra hot skim latte every morning. Now I fall asleep during a staff meeting, get volunteered for the summer picnic committee, and end up sitting in the dunk tank all afternoon getting water up my nose.
Okay, look at it this way. Put on these sunglasses. Whoa. Bueller Air and Plumbing puts in a new AC. We hook you up with affordable financing, and you stay cool and comfortable for just $149 a month. Cool?
Cool. I see it now.
Life can be hard on your budget. If you suffer through the heat because of a broken AC you could totally afford to replace, you could visit.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Enhance your home with Renewal by Anderson's superior craftsmanship and timeless design. Right now, buy 2 windows or patio doors and get the third at 60% off. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. This offer expires May 31st. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
I open the door and take you inside the locker room to get you closer to the field, the players and coaches you care about.
Get a look at Hayes' blog on 1010XL.com.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reese Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is now offering ortho walk-in appointments. If you have an immediate need for orthopedic care, contact Southeast Orthopedic Specialist immediately. Avoid ERs and urgent care waiting rooms. For more information, go to se-ortho.com.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Baseball is back. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball at the newly renovated Vistar Ballpark is your home for affordable family fun. Tickets start at just $5. Fireworks after every Friday home game and kids round the bases after Sunday games. Log on to jackshrimp.com for tickets and details. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, affordable family fun.
Want a simple way to boost your company's image without a big renovation?
A fresh paint job in your brand's colors can increase recognition up to 80%. At Performance Painting, we help companies stand out with clean, on-brand finishes that impress clients and energize employees. From color consultations to low-odor coatings that won't disrupt operations, we've got you covered. Visit performance-painting.com to schedule a friendly estimate. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Is your backyard ready for the big leagues? Pick it here for Surfside Pools. Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, they have the home field advantage. Family owned and operated, offering weekly pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools make your backyard dreams a reality. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, your hometown MVP.
License number CPC 044080.
Yo, 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 it's your boy E to the T here, and I know that getting into an accident is stressful, but getting the proper care doesn't have to be. That's why I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. Even if you're at fault, your insurance covers you. And remember, you have the right to choose your own doctor. Even a minor accident can cause whiplash for years if it goes untreated. So don't wait. Call the auto accident experts at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Your recovery starts today.
What is the smallest NFL stadium? The answer coming up.
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Soldier Field in Chicago is not only the smallest, but is also the oldest, built originally in 1924.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
A chipped windshield can turn into a big problem fast. Lauren Brooks here. Trust Novus Glass of Jacksonville for expert repair and replacement. Call 904-289-2905 for Novus Glass in Orange Park. 904-289-2905.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Jaguar rookie minicamp comes up this weekend. Travis Hunter and the other draft picks and the undrafted free agents will be out on the field. And then OTAs for the Jacksonville Jaguars begin Monday, May the 19th. Let's review the Jaguar draft class, how they fared up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, with Joe DeLeon, A2ZSports.com. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Joe, how you doing, man?
Doing great. It's been a nice little bit of a breather, but already digging into the 2026 guys after what was a pretty exciting 2025 cycle.
Yeah, the work for you guys never stops, no question. All right, I had you on, Joe, a couple of times in the pre-draft process, and I don't think you and I ever talked about Travis Hunter because that wasn't a possibility at number 5. And then James Gladstone and Liam Cohen decided to do something about that. What was your thought on Jacksonville trading up to get the Heisman Trophy winner?
Yeah, first of all, I think that just generally there's a little bit of risk involved with trading up and going and getting any player that's not a quarterback, especially giving up a future first rounder. But one of the things that I talked about with Travis Hunter was that he could potentially be transformative for any franchise on and off the field. And it feels like James Gladstone was the right general manager to capitalize on that, to be able to tap into that. Listening to his press conference comments and the way that he spoke on breaking the barriers of what's possible in football makes me excited for what Travis Hunter can do on the field. And then off it, we know that the Jaguars have aspirations to be more than just a team in Florida. They want to be one that is rooted for and regarded in other countries with the amount of times that they go and play in London. Having a superstar, an Ohtani-level superstar, is something that I think is important for the future of this Jaguars team. Whoever landed him was going to have a very unique face, a very unique spokesperson, and I think Hunter has every capability to play into that stardom.
Joe, it appears offense to start for Travis Hunter. They're going to work him in on some defense as well. But from an offensive perspective, he alongside Brian Thomas Jr., that should make for a pretty dynamic duo.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that what you're getting is two skill sets that play really well off of one another. And I think that with Brian Thomas Jr., with the way that he's able to attack downfield vertically, and then knowing what he did at LSU with that vertical route tree that he was so consistent at connecting on big plays throughout games, having Malik Neighbors, who has not the same skill set as Travis Hunter, but a similar one where Neighbors won with his route running, he won with his consistency with his hands, his vision after the catch and ability to create for himself after he caught the football. I think that Travis Hunter could be in that similar type of a role, and their body types, their play styles are going to bounce really well off of one another. And even if Travis Hunter doesn't play every single offensive snap, at the very least, you're going to get, I think, a 700-800-yard receiver that is going to be super dynamic and super explosive every single time he's targeted.
Joe DeLeon, A2ZSports.com. Joe, if it were you, I mean, you studied Travis Hunter for a long time. It's what you did every day as a draft analyst. Do you agree with what the Jaguars are doing, starting him on offense and working him in a little bit on defense?
I don't completely agree with that, and I've always thought that his path to success was going to be him playing defense and then slowly contributing on offense a little bit more. I think that he could play both, though. I don't think that he's going to play every single snap the way that he did at Colorado, just because there's so many games. At a certain point, you wonder, like, when does the wear and tear actually start to set in on a guy who's making tackles on defense and is getting tackled on offense? What does that look like for a player of his build and his size? But I think having a creative offensive coordinator and just a creative head coach in Liam Cohen and having Gladstone, who, again, a creative team builder, I trust what they're going to do with him. I trust that they're going to try and find what is best. At the end of the day, right now, the priority is building around Trevor Lawrence. The priority is getting him more opportunities to succeed and to shine, because you've not only committed drafting him as early as you did not that long ago, but you have committed all that money to a second contract. So Trevor Lawrence's success is paramount. And I think that Travis Hunter, him being on the field on offense often, is the best way of maximizing that.
Joe, a couple of third-round picks for the Jaguars. After Travis Hunter, they went Caleb Ransaw, the defensive back from Tulane, and Wyatt Milam, the Big 12 Offensive Lineman of the Year from West Virginia. First to Ransaw, cornerback, I guess, in college, yet it appears safety for him at the next level. Is that your understanding?
Yeah, not to speak on too confidently on how he's going to play in the NFL, but his athletic testing was tremendous. And I think that you saw from him, for as explosive he is for his build, that there is a way to tap into that athleticism for him to play in multiple roles. And it seems like, based on what the Jaguars' depth chart needs are and where they want contributors, taking him in the third round, you would hope that somebody like Ransaw could contribute maybe in the nickel, maybe he does contribute at safety. But I think that having the production and the amount of reps and experience that he had at Tulane is going to translate with that crazy athleticism.
You know, by all indications, talking to people that cover the draft, Milam at number 89 might be a steal. I've talked to a lot of people, Joe, that did not think he would be there.
Yeah, and this is a really funny pick. I said to my co-host Ryan Roberts, as soon as the pick came in, I'm like, I don't know why. I can't fully explain it, but Wyatt Milam just felt like a Jacksonville Jaguar, a guy that has a very high floor as an offensive lineman, somebody who can plug in a guard for you and start there for the next 5 years and maybe even longer than that. I don't think Milam got the same level of hype as some of these other offensive linemen, because there were a little bit more traits to go off of. There were different things, like talking about with Tyler Booker, his leadership and his just mauling mentality, or the excitement of, say, Josh Simmons and his fluid base, or somebody like Ariante Ursary on day 2 who went to the Texans. He also had some athletic upside that he brought to the table. I think that Milam more so exemplifies, hey, we just need somebody to plug in. We just need somebody that's going to plug in and be steady. We don't need a Pro Bowler. We just need a guy that we know that we can count on every single game, that is going to know his assignment, and is that it's going to play his assignment. I think the biggest thing for me with Milam is that, and also the grip strength that he plays with, the upper body strength that he brings to the table. He's going to be a reliable player in my eyes, depending on what spot they deploy him in at the start of the season.
Couple more for Joe DeLeon of A to Z Sports.com. He's with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Joe, we know the success that Liam Cohen had with Bucky Irving last year in Tampa. The Jaguars went and got 2 running backs, LaQuint Allen in round 7. I had to look at this number twice to make sure it was correct. 64 catches out of the backfield last year for LaQuint Allen. That's a crazy number. And then, of course, in round 4, Bashal Tutin from Virginia Tech, the fastest running back in the draft. I mean, people here in Jacksonville hope that one of those guys will be Liam Cohen's Bucky Irving. What are the chances of that?
I think it's certainly possible. And I know that right now that there is a relatively crowded room, not like a super crowded one with a lot of big names, but guys that have been productive in the past with ETN and Tank Bigsby. Like, you've got production, but now you have these 2 really useful skill sets that you get with Tutin and you get with Allen. Allen's receiving impact it's huge. Like, that is something that I think Trevor Lawrence needs, is just having somebody that can come in on third downs. If he ends up making this roster, that he can just dump the ball off to, that he can constantly find and know that he has that reliable target. And then Tutin, he can really scoot. And his testing numbers were, not only did he have the fastest 40 for running back, but he had a 40-inch vertical. He had a 10-10 broad. He could jump out the gym. That explosiveness is only going to be utilized at a very high level by Liam Cohen. I think the biggest thing and the biggest point of optimism knowing this Jaguars running back room is that he's gotten production out of a guy like Bucky Irving, and that he knows how to tap into various skill sets of running backs and to completely maximize their potential.
Of the other guys, Joe, whether it's Jack Kaiser, Jalen McLeod, Rayon Lane, Jonah Monheim, I mean, any of the other draft picks for the Jaguars stick out to you?
I think for the most part that all these guys are going to be backup level players. They're just going to be depth pieces that end up contributing and sitting on the roster and just maybe stepping up in the event of injury. We know last year was injury filled at times for the Jaguars. So, like, having more depth is important. But if there was one player that I think maybe quietly ends up contributing and earning a starting linebacker spot, it is Jack Kaiser. Kaiser was the heartbeat of that Notre Dame defense this past year. He was a rallying point for a group of guys that were all underclassmen for the most part. It was a lot of sophomores. It was a lot of even true freshmen that made contributions. So Kaiser being that player who everybody knew that they can turn to, that leadership, I think is what helped them get drafted higher than everybody expected. Many thought that he was going to be a mid to late day 3 linebacker, but instead of going in the 4th round, I think shows that he is the type of voice that the Jaguars wanted at linebacker and wanted in that defense.
Joe, as we begin to wrap up, I thought one of the more undervalued trades of draft weekend was what James Gladstone did with Detroit on that Friday night, trading back from 70 to, I think, 102 at the time, and picking up 2 third-round picks in 2026. Now, we know the Jaguars gave Cleveland their first-rounder next year for Hunter, but now the Jaguars have 4 Friday night selections in 2026. I thought that was really good on Gladstone's part.
Yeah, that was a fleecing. That had to have been one of the craziest moves that nobody was talking about after the draft weekend. Isaac Tesla, who the Lions traded up for, it is what it is. I don't think that they needed to trade up to go get him. He's a good athlete. He has shown signs of progression from playing D2 ball to moving up to Arkansas. But, man, they were getting that recouped level of value. I think is huge. I know that, like, some people might be able to point at and say, like, oh, this is a year where there was a lot of depth, where there was a lot of day 2 guys that could have been starters for your team, like trying to get 2025 value would have been more important. Regardless, when you're getting that many day 2 picks, not day 3 picks, day 2 picks, you are the one who is winning that trade. So, yeah, I know that was a tremendous move by them, or that by Gladstone, that he was able to pull that off. That was a sneaking big steal that, again, nobody has been talking about.
Yeah, crazy. The Jaguars don't have a first-round pick next year, but they're still probably going to have 4 picks in the top 100. All right, Joe, when all was said and done, including the trades, the draft picks, everything that James Gladstone did in his first time at bat as Jaguar GM, how do you assess how the Jaguars fared with this draft?
Yeah, I thought that this was a good draft for me. I thought that overall the class is like in that B range. I wouldn't say that it was a complete utter home run because them not having a second rounder, as we talked about, most of these guys end up being role-specific players that mostly contribute as backups, as depth pieces. But when you come out of the class with the most gifted player that we've ever seen in the last 5 years, that is not only unique on the football field, but is going to be a driving force for ticket sales. It's going to be a driving force for your franchise appearing in more national primetime spotlight games. It is big for this team. And I think that this is how you set the tone early, is by taking a big swing, taking a big risk, and hoping out for that payoff to end up hitting. And I think that it will. So for me, it was a B class. You don't end up coming out of this with a ton of starters. You end up just leaving with a lot of quality football players, and elite one at the top. You couldn't really ask for much more.
Joe, final question. You said you've already turned the page to 2026. Obviously, no X's and O's here, but from a mile-high view, an early look at 2026, is it a deeper draft than 2025?
To say that it's deeper, I'm uncertain of that, because I've only dug so far. I've only kind of looked at the top 20 guys at the current moment. I will say what's very different, and I think, and I'm very glad that we're not going 2 straight years with a quarterback drought, but I think that where there's going to be a lot more excitement is that there's really a much more intriguing quarterback class. There's a lot of guys with tools, traits, former 5-stars, high 4-stars, Lenora Sellers, Cade Klubnik, Arch Manning, of course, is going to be in the discussion, even though I don't think he declares. And then you've got risers like Fernando Mendoza at Indiana. There's just so many different narratives that I think that can be created with all these players. And there's potential for even guys that we're not even talking about right now, like Taylon Green from Arkansas, to be crazy risers throughout this college football season. I think that is what this draft class needed, was some sort of excitement with the quarterbacks. And next year is going to be a highly contested debate on who is going to be the actual top QB.
Joe DeLeon, A2ZSports.com. Joe, you've been so gracious with your time during this draft process. Thank you. The next time we have you on, I guess it'll be a little college football talk prior to the season kicking off. Always appreciate you, my friend.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Bring it in. 2, 4, 6, 8. We appreciate Duval.
1010XL. Duval Sports Radio.
Nice job.
With the first pick in the 2025 draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Duck Rooter, the #1 plumbing, septic, and air conditioning contractor in Florida.
Congratulations, Duck Rooter. So tell us, how does it feel to be picked #1?
Duck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you need help with any plumbing, septic, or AC issue, just give us a call and relax. We'll send one of our first-round draft picks to tackle your problems today. DuckDuckRooter.com. That's DuckDuckRooter.com.
It's your boy E.T. here, and if you and a friend would like to play in this year's Coastal Equipment Guggen Open Golf Tournament, May 19th at Hidden Hills Golf Club, text Guggen to the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at 641-1010 for your chance to win. You can win Twin Peak lunches if I sink a putt for you. Pick up some cigars from Tobacco Cove. Win great prizes on the course from Edwin Watts Golf. Pick up some sun care kits from Beaches Dermatology. And thanks to our sponsors, CSS Outdoors, the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Union, 234, and Royal Pest Services.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
It's your go-to for golf talk. The Edwin Watts Golf Hour.
All we need to do is develop the rest of your game. Then you'll be unstoppable, son.
Get local updates, gear reviews, and all things golf talk. Saturday mornings at 10 on 1010XL.
What's the weekend in sports look like? I'm 1010XL's Dan Hicken, and I'll give you my takes and weekend updates on YouTube and Facebook. Musings with the media mogul. That's right, motivated by Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach.
It's Work Zone Awareness Week, Florida. Every year, lives are lost in work zones because of speeding and distractions. When you see orange cones, remember, slow down, follow the signs, and stay focused. Workers are counting on you to get home safely, and so are their families. Let's work together to prevent crashes and save lives. A safety reminder from the Florida Department of Transportation. Slow your roll. Safety's the goal.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
You can help Micah's Place support domestic violence victims by playing in the Par for a Purpose golf tournament June 20th at the stunning Golf Club of Amelia Island. Register at micahsplace.org/golf.
City Rescue Mission provides life-changing support for the homeless. Find ways to get involved at crmjax.org.
If you could benefit from a grief and loss support group, call Haven Hospice at 279-1677.
You have healing power. Even writing a letter or volunteering can help heal a veteran. Find out more at healvets.org.
The Hometown for Heroes Home Buyers Program helps you get your down payment and closing costs paid. Call to learn more. 574-7180.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
John Haney here for Clearwater. And I know I'm always joking around, but this is a serious time for our coach and our team. So if you need a sprinkler system, a French drain, or seamless gutters, and you live in Duval County, then give us a call today.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage too.
Duval.
ClearwaterJax.com.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
Jacksonville, Hickens calling it. Checkmate Coating, my MVP. Tough, slick floors that dominate any space.
Checkmate Coatings. Your floor's missing piece.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Early to mid-May is where we find ourselves. And look, there is a ton going on, not only in the college football gridiron, but off the gridiron surrounding the great game of college football. From NIL issues to the transfer portal to all points in between. And with that, let me bring in my buddy Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News, and you also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Mr. Beard, how are you, my friend?
Well, we are still in college football preseason magazine countdown, by the way. Basically, a little over 2 weeks from today, or this week, is the average date for college football preseason magazines to come out over the last few years has been May 23rd. So if you're now, that's for Lindy's and Athlon. Phil Steele, who you have on occasionally, will be out later than that. So does that give you a little heads up for our listeners today, Hank?
By next week, Brent will be counting the hours down until those preseason college magazines are out. No question about it. All right, Brent, there's a lot to get into today, and it's stuff that people don't necessarily like to talk about, but it's important issues surrounding the great game of college football. It's NIL and the transfer portal. And let's begin with NIL. At the University of Alabama graduation last week, both Nick Saban and President Donald Trump spoke there in Tuscaloosa to the graduating Crimson Tide seniors. And the thought of NIL came up, I believe, in a conversation, right, between Saban and President Trump.
Yes, it did, and I think mutual interest on both sides. Trump talked about actually having an executive order in place soon to help NIL. And look, in a nutshell, what you've got and with trying to get something out of Congress is basically to keep from being sued all the time. That if you boil it down, that's one of the real things they want to do, because everything the NCAA comes up with, they have a lawsuit. So what they're trying to do is get something in order to where it's going to be fairer for them and easier for them to come up with some legislation that would help on NIL. So, you're either going to get something from the commissioners and the conferences, or from the NCAA, which is probably doubtful, or from Congress. So while the two were together, they discussed that, and we will see what comes of it. But hopefully it will be something that will be going from the back of the president's mind to more in the front of his mind.
Brent, I think most people were in agreement that the players deserve something with the amount of money that was going into college football. Right. So I think most people agreed that something had to be done with NIL. But where we're at now and where it's ultimately landed to this point, to me, is probably not what people envisioned, correct?
Yes, and that is why some changes have got to be made. Now, last week there was a meeting of the National Football Operations Organization, and it was in Dallas at the Cowboys headquarters. There were two basic topics that were talked about. One was going to a single, only one transfer portal window, and then the other would be to get whoever the representation is for these athletes some kind of a certification process that would be better than just having Uncle Jim or Cousin Ray represent you and think they know what they're doing. And we're seeing more of this as players get involved with NIL, is they're getting better representation, but that's something that's got to happen. So, in a nutshell, out of this meeting, I thought the most interesting thing is they've still got to clear up the calendar. Now, we've got transfer portal in December. We've got transfer portal in April. And heck, what they really want to do is they have cut down the transfer portal days from 45 days to 30. I think what they want to do now is to get the transfer portal in a situation where it's only one per year. And how that would help college football would be the spring portal probably will go. In the spring portal, the problem in the spring portal is the portal opened like April 16th. Well, that's basically in the middle or right after the spring games, and we didn't have a lot of spring games because of that. So if you move the spring portal away from spring football, we may be able to have more spring games, and coaches would be open for that. So I think the reason we're talking about this today is to let folks know that and these things can be slow as molasses, but there are things getting done behind the scenes in these appropriate committees that would help the NIL portal situation get a little more guardrails than we've got now. So, heck, frankly, anything would help, would it not?
It would. You see Brent Beard on First Coast News. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. And, Brent, I know this is something that has been discussed by many, but nothing has been done yet, obviously. You're starting to see kids now play at 3 different universities, or even 4 different universities for their college career. I mean, 1 transfer, maybe. I mean, I could even maybe see 2, but anything north of 2, Brent, I think is getting kind of ridiculous.
It is, and unfortunately, we're seeing that. Zach Calzada, he is now at Kentucky as a starting quarterback. He was at A&M, but see, Zach Calzada is in his 7th year. I mean, that at some point really gets to the point of being ridiculous. And the other thing, to your point, too, is you've got to do what is called making progress toward a degree. And when you go to 4 or 5 different schools, it's hard to make much progress toward a degree. So, and look, we've kind of forgot that they're still student athletes. I know that term is fading away, but that's got to be taken into consideration, and I think it actually is. And look, I agree with you totally. At some point, the number of transfers has got to be reduced to where it is doable. So that is involved with all this in these committees meeting, and that is being addressed too.
You know, Mike Norvell there with Florida State has obviously been very active in the transfer portal in his past. This offseason is no exception. Florida State has brought a lot of guys in through the transfer portal, Brent, and that continued in the last week or so. Yeah, Gavin Sawchuk from Oklahoma, who is a really good running back, has transferred to Florida State, former top 100 recruit. I mean, he rushed for nearly 1,000 yards and 11 TDs over 3 seasons. He was hurt a lot, and that was a problem also. But hopefully he is on the mend, and he will be ready to go with that. Also at Florida State, Thomas Castellanos from Boston College, who frankly was benched last season at Boston College, is now the clear starter. He is reuniting with Gus Malzahn, who signed Castellanos out of high school at UCF in 2022. So there are ties everywhere for coaches and players. But again, this is I'm not saying he's going to be fired. I'm just saying, and he knows this, they've got to make some progress this year at Florida State. The stadium will be ready for the opener when Alabama comes to town. So it's going to be a very, very important offseason in Tallahassee. Final moments with Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, I saw a video on YouTube this past week. It was recorded, I believe, 2 or 3 weeks ago, that was giving a tour of the $300 million, that's $300 million football facility there at the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. And in this 15-minute video, I was just blown away at the size and the amenities and everything in this football facility. And you can take that and go to Auburn or A&M or Tennessee or Florida, Georgia. They all have them. It is mind-blowing, Brent. And it's not just the SEC. It's a lot of big-time schools, but I'm going to focus on the SEC for our audience. It is mind-blowing, the football facilities that are on these campuses now. Well, it is. There's no doubt about it. I mean, there are these great football buildings, and then pretty much almost everybody in the league has got an indoor practice facility. So, and the Alabama facility is typical of a lot of them. Now, there's a caveat to this, but first of all these buildings were built in the arms race for recruiting because everybody had to have the different things that you've got in these buildings. You've got bowling alleys, barber shops. You've got a situation at LSU where you can actually take a nap in your locker. I'm not sure how you do that, but that's where they've got it set up. So, but I'll say this, with NIL, what's changed that a little bit is these recruits who used to be, that was a bigger deal years ago than it is now. I mean, look, let's be honest. These recruits right now are interested in how much money will you pay me? How soon can I play? Am I guaranteed a starting spot? And
can you get me to the NFL? So the buildings are not what they used to, but there's work continuously done on all of them, and whoever adds a new shiny part of the building, that's going to be copied by everybody in the league.
Yeah, I completely agree. When I covered recruiting, facilities very rarely came up, so it's a cherry on top, no question. It's not the main priority for a lot of these guys, but I just saw that video and I was just blown away, man. It is wild, some of the things in these buildings. Brent, leave us with this. You have anything on Billy Napier and the Florida Gators?
Well, I think it's a good news baby at this point. I say that with caution, but Florida's getting a lot of off-season love. The top 25 too early predictions are coming out, and Florida is pretty well in the top 25. I mean, you see the optimism with DJ Lagway coming back. You see the optimism that came in from spring practice. In the fact that, in the spring game, Dallas Wilson, for instance, 10 catches for 195 yards, really good group of skill position players. Listen, I saw a list the other day, because this is the time of year for these things, that had Florida as the best offensive line in the SEC. I mean, Slaughter coming back at center is a big deal. You've got basically Hack, 4 out of the 5 starters coming back. Frankly, if Lagway is really going on all cylinders, this offense will be really hard to stop.
It will be, and not only 4 of the 5 starters, but a lot of depth pieces that played a lot last year as well. So a lot on the offensive line returning. Jaden Ball, Jacoby Jackson in the backfield. You mentioned the young guys at wide receiver. There is potential on that Gator offense. And look, we're going to talk about it till the games are played. It's the schedule, Brent. It was last year, too.
Right.
It is the schedule for Florida. The fact that they have to go to LSU and then 7 days later go to Miami is just absolutely brutal there towards the end of September. It's never brutal to have our buddy Brent Beard. You see him on First Coast News. You get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, enjoy the week, my friend. Next week will be a week closer to your preseason magazines. There'll be a ton more to talk about. We always appreciate you, pal.
And I'll leave you with this. Jared Curtis, 6'3", 213, a 5-star quarterback from Nashville. Christian committed to Georgia on Monday. That was a big deal. One of the better quarterbacks, and Georgia, the recruiting machine, Hank, just keeps going on. So always good to be with you, my friend. Have a great week. We'll talk soon.
And thanking him, my buddy Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark for joining me tonight to talk about issues with the transfer portal, NIL, some transfer portal news coming out of Tallahassee, and other such things as well, as there's always a lot going on in the world of college football, and we certainly appreciate Brent Beard for spending some time with us tonight. We spent some time on that, spent some time on Florida Gator basketball as Todd Golden receives a brand new 6-year contract extension. That's what happens when you win a national championship, right? Unbelievable job by Todd Golden in just 3 years in Gainesville with a national championship and now a brand new extension that makes him one of the highest paid college coaches in the country. And again, absolutely well-deserved. Certainly talked about that. And we talked about the Jaguars as well, as rookie minicamp comes up for Jacksonville this upcoming week. Obviously talked about that. And again, Lincoln Riley, the head coach of Southern California, joined us earlier tonight as well to talk about Jaguars 7th-round pick Jonah Monheim. So it was a very, very busy show, and we certainly appreciate you hanging out with us here on a Tuesday evening. Well, that will just about do it, man. Now, we got some house cleaning to do, but before that, got a lot of people to thank. Again, Brent Beard, you see him locally on First Coast News. You get him weekly here as well on Hacker After Dark. Thank you to Joe DeLeon, A2ZSports.com, for joining us. Always appreciate the conversation with Joe DeLeon of A2ZSports.com. Ryan Fowler of the Draft Network stopped by. Always love talking draft and reviewing the draft with Ryan. And then Lincoln Riley, again, the head coach of USC. We certainly appreciate the coach taking time out for us here on Hacker After Dark to talk about Jonah Monheim. Now, vacation begins tomorrow as we are heading down to Orlando. Little Hack turned 6 years old, so I'm out the rest of the week. I will be back with you on Monday for Hacker After Dark, so we look forward to that. But again, no Hacker After Dark tomorrow, Thursday, or Friday as a little vacation for my 6-year-old, myself, the wife, and the rest of the family as we are heading down to hang out with Mickey Mouse in Orlando, in the Orlando area. So we'll be back Monday here on Hacker After Dark. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the Hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Tuesday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark, on 1010XL, and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Tuesday evening and a fantastic remainder of the week. And I'll rejoin you Monday night right here for Hacker After Dark. Until then, good night, Jackson.